set I picked up earlier in the week from my favorite dollar store. And before you can ask, no, I didn't have time for dry cleaning. And yes, I always had time for the dollar store. On that particular morning, I didn't have time for either one, though. In fact, I'd spent so much time agonizing over which blazer to wear that I'd pretty much run out of time altogether. I'm already not a morning person, but when you add in a manic rush to get to a job I don't even like, well, I could already tell just how bad this day would end up. I raced out the door, unshowered, unfed, and uncaffeinated, hoping that I'd at least have some luck and catch all green lights on my commute that day. Instead, the longest train in the world cut me off not even 2 blocks from my house. The train tracks run along the only major street to serve our small coastal town, and there's absolutely no way for me to reach the firm via back roads, which meant I found myself stuck waiting in a line of angry, honking cars for a solid 15 minutes. By the time I actually reached the office, I was the last one through the door, and we had less than 10 minutes until the will reading commenced. My hope to sneak in undetected proved unfounded as well. "Russo!" Mr. Thompson bellowed before the door even closed all the way behind me. If you pictured an old white guy wearing boat shoes and an ascot, you'd have a pretty good idea of how Mr. Thompson looked, and an even better idea of how he acted. He was a fantastic lawyer, but not a very personable boss. A thick, meaty vein pulsed at the side of his head, and for some reason I couldn't stop staring at it. He pointed at me with a shaking finger and a scowl. "Late and dressed like you're attending an 80s-themed party instead of a will reading. Nope, that's not going to fly today. Go see if Peters has a jacket you can borrow." It took the strength of 1,000 bodybuilders not to roll my eyes as I slumped off to find the only female associate in the whole place. We often got grouped together by nature of our shared gender, but Bethany Peters and I were nothing alike. She was blonde and pretty and looked like she should be as sweet as pie, too, except she was actually the biggest shark of them all. I guess you have to be in order to get taken seriously in a man's world. But what did I know? I was just a glorified secretary who didn't even want to be there. Bethany turned her nose up at me the second I entered her office, and I pinched my fingers over mine. See, Bethany had an obsession with essential oils and even sold them in these tacky online parties that she invited us all to about once per month. Even at that point, I'd only worked at the firm for a few months, but had already ordered more lavender bath salts than I could ever possibly need. On the day of the will reading, Bethany's office reeked of juniper and lemon, definitely not one of her better combinations. Still, whatever blend of restorative girl power mojo she was trying to concoct, I sincerely hoped it would work for her. "Let me guess," she said in that nasally, condescending tone that she always used whenever talking to me or one of the other employees without a law degree. "Fulton sent you in to borrow a jacket from me." A smile crept across my face. "Thompson, actually." Call me a contrarian, but I loved getting the chance to prove her wrong, especially when a day started off as bad as this one had. It was a small and beautiful gift. "Can't you pick up some more appropriate work clothes for yourself so you're not always stuck borrowing mine last minute?" She sighed before lumbering over to the other side of her office with loose arms and large exaggerated strides. She looked like a preppy blonde gorilla, but I decided to keep that particular comparison to myself. "Thompson, Fulton, they're both kind of freaking out today," Bethany confided in me. "Apparently, the old lady that died is related to Fulton." "How do you know?" My eyes grew wide. So this was why everyone was making such an unusually large fuss that morning. "Well, for starters, her last name is Fulton, too." She tapped on her temple to draw my attention to her superior brain power.